The doorway pec stretch is a very common stretch used to lengthen the pectorals, aka the chest muscles, but there are a few tweaks that we can apply to make it much more effective and to make the gains that you get from it last. Hey, what's up? It's Coach E here from Precision Movement, and today I'm going to walk you through some upgrades that we can make to the classic doorway pec stretch. Okay, so the classic doorway pec stretch is where you're in a doorway, your arms are up, and you're just walking through, pushing through to stretch out the pec muscles, okay? There are a few things that we're going to do to it to upgrade this. Okay, so if you've been following Precision Movement and myself for a while, then you've probably come across something that I call the end range activation sequence. And this is a sequence that I apply to stretches to build range of control. Okay, not just range of motion, increase flexibility, but range of control, increase mobility. Because if we don't have the strength at the range, then we're not going to be able to maintain that range. The neuromuscular system will see that range as unstable, and it'll just tighten those muscles back up that you just stretched. Okay, that's why static stretching, you have to do it all the time, every day, and then once you stop, the gains diminish. But when you apply sequences like this, which is the end range activation sequence, you're going to be able to make gains that last. All right, so here's what you do. Classic doorway pec stretch. You step into a doorway and you hang out here for 30 seconds or so. Okay. The end range activation sequence, what we're going to do is we're going to strengthen the muscles that enter the range, the muscles that exit the range, and also the muscles that stabilize the range. And in this case, it's the shoulder internal and external rotators. Okay. So we're going to do a 5-second hold for each element with about a 5-second relaxation in the passive stretch to gain more passive flexibility. Okay. So what you do, set yourself up. I like to get the elbows up a little bit higher than the shoulders, and I go the split stance. And then I'm in the passive stretch right here. Okay, so first we're going to apply the end range activation sequence and contract the chest or the pec muscles themselves. So to do that, I'm just going to push into the door with my whole forearm for 5 seconds, focusing on firing up the pec muscles, and then I relax, try to get a little deeper into the stretch. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lift the arms away from the door frame. Don't change body position, hold for 5 seconds. So now I'm contracting the delts, scapular retractors, and then I relax and go into the passive range again. Okay, so in the passive range again, don't change body position. I'm going to lift just my hand away from the door frame and fire up the external rotators, and I'm actively contracting for the whole 5 seconds. So I'm squeezing those muscles isometrically, and then I relax. Okay, 5-second relaxation, and then one more. I'm going to try to rotate my hand down this way. Okay, so fire up the internal rotators. Elbows might pop off the door frame, that's cool. Keep a tall spine and relax into passive range. Okay, so it's about a minute you're in that position, combining all the contractions and the relaxations, and that's going to allow you to not only improve the passive range because you're getting that passive stretch, but to build the strength in that range that you need to keep it. Okay, so that's the first upgrade to the doorway pec stretch. Next upgrade, when you're in this position and you're stretching, make sure you're breathing and expanding the rib cage. So I teach it as 3D breathing. So you're expanding the rib cage out in all directions, forward, back, out to the sides, and also you're expanding the diaphragm, and the lungs are expanding up and down. So the diaphragm's coming down when you inhale, so it expands everything. The whole torso is basically expanding. Okay, so that's 3D breathing, not just trying to bring the belly out, but the whole rib cage. And because of the architecture of the pecs, they insert into the humerus and they originate at the sternum, so they cross over the rib cage. When you inhale through the rib cage and expand that whole area, it's going to further stretch the pec muscles. Okay, so 3D breathing, deep breathing, don't hold your breath. That's going to help to increase the effectiveness of this technique. Okay, so the last little tweak here is when you go into this position, especially when you go into passive range, people have a tendency to extend their spine, okay, because the pecs are so tight, it basically just pops the spine into extension through the lumbar and the thoracic area. What you really want to focus on is keeping the abdominals tight, the lumbar spine in neutral, and keeping the rib cage from flaring. Okay, so you depress the rib cage with the abdominals. So you're here, instead of doing that, you keep the abdominals on and depress the rib cage so that you're not going into extension of the spine, and you can get a more effective stretch through the pecs. Okay, so you're here, and then you're breathing. And when you apply those 3 elements, the end range activation sequence, the 3D breathing, and maintaining the rib cage depressed and preventing extension, hyperextension of the spine, this stretch is going to be very effective for you. Okay, so do that up, give it a try. You can even compare, do the classic way of just statically stretching for a little bit, couple days, and then do the upgraded way with the 3 techniques that I just showed you, and you'll feel the difference for yourself. All right, so if you want more good stuff like this, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit up precisionmovement.coach, because we've got plenty more articles and videos to help you eliminate pain, heal and prevent injuries, and improve your mobility so you can do the things you love.